What's up, guys? It does not get much better than what Maryland did in the first half yesterday. I mean, not breaking any news by saying how amazing they played. 57 points in the first half, zero turnovers. I mean, wow. It was a perfect half of basketball. You got to go back. I mean, Maryland's played, they made a couple Sweet 16s and had a couple moments, but nothing that really sticks out over the past 23 years. Like, it's been a long time since Maryland has had a chance here to win the national championship. And watching that first half takes you back to the Final Four run, those back to back years. But I would say the best game out of all those games, at least the game that I remember the most, was the Final Four game where Maryland beat Kansas. I went back to look at the box score this morning. It was 97-88. Juan Dixon had 33 points. And it's an eerily similar team than what we have this year. Lonnie Baxter actually in that game barely plays, like 14 minutes, 5 fouls. Wilcox was big in that game. But anyway, Maryland had their starting five of Dixon and Blake and Wilcox and Baxter and Byron Mouton. And then they basically had a 7-man rotation. They went to the bench a little bit more than Maryland does this year with Taj Holden, who is I love Taj Holden. And then Drew Nichols. And then Ryan Randall came in as kind of the eighth guy. In order for Maryland to get over the hump, they're going to have to use the bench a little bit. Thought Geronimo played great yesterday. He's so physical. He's kind of the backup plan if there's foul trouble, as Reese and Queen both had 2 fouls yesterday in the first half. He got a lot of minutes. The other guys, Deshaun Harris-Smith and Jay Young, and then Gapari got back in there and looked okay, made a three. A couple of those guys are going to have to step up over the course of the next few weeks if Maryland's going to get all the way to the Final Four. But holy goodness gracious, they looked great yesterday. I was thinking to myself, no matter how today plays out, or, I'm going to get to it in a second, but no matter what happens now, if they have a bad stretch, a few minutes go by, they can't make a shot. As a coach, you have that first half to lean on when times get tough over the next few weeks and you need to make a run. You need to remind your guys how good you are. What a flawless first half. Everything clicked. Kind of culminated the game in the second half when Rice fell down I don't know exactly what happened. Like, he slips and falls, gets back up, makes a three as the shot clock's winding down, and gets fouled. Derek Queen, maybe he just needs a little bit of rest. He looked super fresh yesterday. I think Maryland was, a lot of this stuff, you have a chip on your shoulder where you can find things, you can find narratives, you can find things to, rile yourself up. But when there's an overall narrative that everybody's saying the same thing going into a game, and Maryland's like, wait, didn't we just beat this team by 20? And I felt like the conversation going into the game is Illinois is peaking, they got their big guy back, and the spread indicated that, right? And it's a 1-point spread. Like, that guy makes that much of a difference. Maryland took it personal. I don't know exactly what the hell happened, but they just blitzed the crap out of Illinois. Would the same exact thing happen tonight if they played? I mean, probably not, but it's just a bad matchup for Illinois. And I said it yesterday, you play Iowa the day before, and it plays mind tricks on you because Iowa's committed to playing no defense. And somehow that's the business model this year, is play zero defense, and Maryland was too much for Illinois. The best part about the game, and then we'll spin it forward, is it was Illinois called a timeout down by 19. Early as 29-10. They get 5 straight points to make it 29-14. And then Maryland just got even more pissed off and went on another huge run. At that point, you thought maybe Illinois would get back into it, and the answer was no. So Maryland rolls. Before I get to the other games, I was looking at it this morning. You can get a whole bunch of people to give projections and whatever going into to the March Madness selection show tomorrow night. But I mean, I'm going to say this out loud, talk it through, but I'm almost positive Maryland's just guaranteed a 3 seed no matter what happens today, whether they win or lose. And they could win today and win tomorrow, and they're just not going to get a 2 seed. I just don't see it happening. They don't have enough wins to match these other SEC schools. But on the flip side, I don't see any situation where they go beyond a 3. If they lose to Michigan by 10 points today, and it's just kind of an ugly game, I still think they get the 3 seed. The way things have shaked out over the past couple of days, I just don't. I don't see any logical argument where Maryland doesn't get the 3 seed. In order to give them the 2 seed, I think that would be a stretch. So the way I have it, not in any particular order, but just talking through and being like, how does Maryland jump up to the 2 or fall to the 4? They seem just permanently stuck at the 3. So you got Michigan State, you got Tennessee, you got Auburn, you got Alabama, you got Florida. So that's 5. You got Houston as 6, St. John's 7, Louisville's 8, Duke's 9. So you got those 9 teams being somewhat generous to Louisville, but I think they're locked into a 3 seed also as they beat Clemson yesterday. And I don't think they could lose to Duke today and still get the 3 seed. I think Maryland's in a better position than them. So out of all those 9 teams, go through it one more time. It's Duke, Louisville, St. John's, Houston, Florida, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Michigan State. Maryland can't jump any of those teams, right? Out of those 9 teams, besides Louisville, I think the 8 teams are kind of etched in stone there for the 2 seed. I don't think if Louisville beat Duke tonight, it just doesn't get them to a 2 seed. The resume is not there. The 2 seeds, the 1 and the 2 seeds are. I don't think there's any drama left. I think Duke is going to get a 1 seed. St. John's is going to get a 2 seed. Houston's going to get a 1 seed. Florida and Alabama are both getting. I think Alabama gets the 2 seed at this point. Alabama is probably the weakest of all those teams, but their resume is better. With Iowa State and BYU losing, their resume is not going to be better than Alabama if Alabama loses to Florida today. Florida is significantly above those other teams. There's just as much drama as there'll be for the last, 8 to 10 spots, and we can all debate that and look at resumes and Ken Palms and all kinds of fun things to argue about. The top 2 seeds, I think the only thing that's up for debate is who gets the last, the 11th or 12th best team. Like 10 through 11, 10, 11, and 12 is interesting. If Louisville loses today, you can make that argument. But Maryland's just, they're in there. I don't think Wisconsin can jump them. I mean, if Wisconsin beat Michigan State today and then Maryland loses and Wisconsin wins the Big Ten tournament, maybe they're on the same level, but it wouldn't be enough. My point is there's no way you're going to find 12 teams that are going to get above Maryland. Like if you just go through it with Texas Tech losing yesterday and with BYU and Iowa State losing. So all 3 of those teams, they each had a shot. If they would have won the Big 12 championship and knocked off Houston along the way, they could have gotten there. They didn't. Arizona's resume is just not, no. Even if Arizona beat Houston today, it's not above Maryland. It's just not. So Maryland is pretty much just stuck at the 3 spot, which you make the argument either way. I'm not saying I don't care if they win the game today or not, but I could spin it either way. They were so good yesterday that if they lose today and they still get a 3 seed, it's 1 less game they have to play tomorrow. They get to rest. I prefer they win today and get a rematch against Michigan State or face Wisconsin. It'd be more fun. It'd be cool to win the Big Ten championship. All those things are great. But this team has a legitimate chance to go on a Final Four run. Watched so much basketball over the past couple of days. And there's, with Cooper getting hurt with Duke, Auburn constantly giving you a heart attack at the end of the games. Bruce Pearl is permanently he just stresses anybody and everybody out associated with Auburn basketball. Wherever he goes, it's just anyway, I don't know how Auburn's going to get all the way to the finish line the way they play. They try to lose games, it feels like. Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama and Florida, yeah, they're all really good, but they're all beatable. There's no dominant player on either squad. It's a wide open year. St. John's is in a really good spot. I don't like Houston as much, but they look good yesterday. Yeah, it's pretty cool that Maryland's got a good chance here to win the whole thing. So whatever happens today, I'm not going to put too much stock in it. I think they're going to get the 3 seed no matter what. All right, cool. As far as the rest of the games yesterday, not a great day. Some things that really annoyed me. Texas. Now, if you want to look up for a scandal, I don't want to be a narc here this morning, but if you watch the end of the Texas game, so the spread's 9.5. Oh, Lord, this game just make you sick to your stomach. So the spread's 9.5, and Tennessee, oh, Lord, Okay, so Texas is down by 9, and the spread's 9.5. And as the game's winding down, Texas shoots a shot. They miss the shot, whatever. Tennessee gets the rebound. Game's over. There's really no need to foul. We've already had a foul fest for a past minute as Texas tried to pull off a miracle. They're now down by 9. Texas is going to cover. Just do not foul. And with, I don't know, 3-4 seconds left, Texas fouls. As the coaches is saying, don't foul. The scandal comes with the assistant coach on Texas looked like he was going to murder somebody and then quickly tried to like tame himself down, potentially not to give away the fact that he had bet on Texas on this game, because I don't know why he was that angry. I'm angry. And if you bet on the game, you're really angry. But it was super weird to see the assistant coach so bent out of shape that they committed a foul. But I don't know. Don't want to be a narc, but that seemed a little odd. Anywho, Texas loses. That game I wasn't on the right side of it. It was kind of a 50-50 the whole way through. So you get unlucky on those games, and it just is what it is. Hard to complain about it. But that game didn't work out for me. Just wasn't a good day. Carolina came back. Get to that game in a second. But the BYU game, I just keep chasing against Houston here, and I'll do it next week. But I guess I forced it. BYU was out of gas after beating Iowa State, so that game sucked. Alabama did their part. The game was on pace, and then Kentucky just died in the second half. It was a pretty impressive performance by Alabama. I didn't see a ton of it, but I was excited to watch it. Figured after the Maryland game, that'd be a good game to end the night. It wasn't. Kentucky just died. And then the game that bothered me the most was the UConn game. Just, I mean, Creighton, I gotta give them a lot of credit. Like, UConn made a run. I thought they let the game kind of get out of control. Creighton just made bucket after bucket. I was pretty impressed with Creighton's defense the whole way through. UConn didn't get a lot of easy shots. And then they made a run in the second half, cut it to 5, and then just couldn't get over the hump. Had a couple open threes, just couldn't make them. And then the end of the game, I'm going to talk about this for a second. I don't know when it became the worst thing in the world to do a dunk at the end of the game, like how that's disrespecting basketball. Creighton's up by 7 with like 3 seconds left. They get the rebound after UConn misses. UConn decides not to foul. Game's over. And the kid on Creighton's excited, so he races down the court and dunks the ball. And UConn has a heart attack and wants to fight. You see this happen a lot where, it's somehow disrespecting the game. Who cares? It's just so weak. So I don't know. I was really high on UConn. That made me question, like, they couldn't score at the end of the game. They could not score. I don't think Creighton's some defensive juggernaut, but I was really high on UConn. I thought we were going to get a UConn St. John's matchup today. We don't. I don't know. Depending on the matchup, I'm not sure if I'm going to like UConn as much next week, so I just got that game wrong. I'll be surprised if Creighton hangs with St. John's today. St. John's is rolling. They beat Marquette, just blitzed them in the second half. St. John's plays this type of defense. It's probably on par with Duke as the best defense in the nation, but man, they play so hard, so much energy. Again, they're a lot like Maryland, where they don't have a ton of depth. So can they go the entire way? I'm not sure. What else today? Duke Carolina game. They'll finish with that, and they'll get out of here and get these write-ups for the games. But Duke North Carolina, I don't think Carolina's making the tournament. We'll talk. I don't know. We'll see. But they come back. If you didn't see this has got to be the worst way to lose a game. They get fouled with like 4 seconds left, down by 1. Guy misses the first free throw. Goes to take the second free throw, and it's a lane violation on his teammate. Like, just steps into the lane so egregious that the ref has to call it. And the reason why the ref has to call it, and if you're watching, the commentators said the same thing. It's like the offensive rebound's in play, right? Like, you're down by 1. The big guy's shooting his free throw. He missed the first one. So what the Carolina guy's thinking, Withers, I believe is his name, he's trying to get the offensive rebound. Like, that's the whole thing going through. So to get that advantage by being the first one in there and being able to tip the ball and to win the game, it's not, 43-42 with 14 minutes left and the referee can kind of let it go. He had to call it. It's a horrible play. That's why Carolina didn't really argue it too much because it was just too much. He was in the late. I mean, anyway, guy makes the free throw, doesn't count. Duke wins. A lot of character shown by Carolina to get back in the game, but more of a reflection that Duke can't score down the stretch without Cooper Flag. The offense is just stagnant, and they couldn't get anything going in the second half. So Duke's going to play Louisville today. As I went through it earlier, a lot of these games are irrelevant as far as the seeding is concerned. Should be fun games. I would say the most relevant thing is the final one seed. By most accounts, St. John's can't get it. It's going to go to Tennessee or Florida. Be interesting if both of those teams lose today and St. John's wins. Tennessee's going to play Auburn. Florida's going to play Alabama. Yeah, those are probably the most impactful games for those two teams trying to get the one seed. Wisconsin's trying to sneak into the 3 seed. They had a really nice win over UCLA yesterday. They beat Michigan State. They're going to be close to getting the 3 seed. They got to win the Big Ten tournament, and then I think, do get a 3 seed. And Houston's playing Arizona. Arizona probably falls in that 4-5 range. It was a really close game last time they played each other. Arizona just has trouble scoring down the stretch. That should be an interesting game to watch. Houston and Arizona, and then St. John's Creighton later tonight. Maryland, Michigan. The way it's hard to give the 4.5 points today because Michigan beat Purdue, and Maryland beat the crap out of Michigan. Michigan kind of came back in that game. 4.5 back to back. It feels like a tight game. I don't know if I want to give that many points, but man, Maryland matches up great with Michigan. We'll see, how they contain the two big guys with Michigan. They did okay. They let them get back in the second half. But the Wolverines turned the ball over way too much. And Maryland showed yesterday they put great ball pressure. They're rested. They're healthy. They get the break from yesterday with not playing they didn't even play the last 8 to 10 minutes of the game. The starters didn't play. So we'll see how the game goes. Tomorrow they'll have the selection, a bunch of other games today. So good luck on your bets. Hopefully I do better than I did yesterday, and I'll see you guys in the morning. All right.